Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So, y'all know I got a SIG SAUER MPX rifle here, and not too long ago I bought the Umarex two 12-gram CO2 adapters. So this way we don't have to use 88 and 90 gram bottles anymore that ching, and you know, you got to shoot the whole thing off, right? Because you can't leave the bottle in the gun for the long haul, because apparently it'll hurt the gun. So I thought, well, why not get one of these things? And I got this from AirSource, but it doesn't matter where you buy it from. But it was 52 bucks, and I thought, okay, cool idea. I did have to mod my SIG, and it turns out that a lot of us have had to mod our SIG, whether it's an MPX or an Mcx, to get this thing to screw in right. So I spent a bit of time with the Dremel, as you guys know, and if you don't, well, you're probably the first on this channel. And I got the thing to finally screw in, fit, and work. Now, the one thing I did notice with this adapter was that I lost FPS. Now, my gun normally shoots in the high 400s. This thing was doing like, you know, mid threes, some high threes. That really didn't thrill me. And I thought, you know, for a bulk fill system, 2 bottles, you know, I mean, we still got 900 PSI or 1000 PSI, which is average for these little bottles, right? Even in a bulk fill situation, my FPS should have at least stayed up for a few shots, but it really didn't. And mind you, you got good shot count. I'll hand it to the thing for that. It is well-built product, very nice. I would definitely recommend this thing if you want higher shot count, for sure, and not having to spend a whack load of money on 88 or 90 grams. The advantage to this one too is you can actually just shoot a few rounds if that's all you want, and unscrew it and the air stays in it because it has a sealing system. So, you know, I mean, those 88 90s, they don't reseal. They're a one-time puncture, that's it, you're done. You unscrew it, you waste all that gas and a pile of money. 12-gram bottles at least are cheap, you know, so $2 and you got about 60 rounds worth of fun. So anyways, today we're going to check out a new toy which AirSource sent me. I called them up and I asked them about it, and I said, would you mind sending me one to check out? Because this is a little more expensive, and it only uses 1 bottle, but it is the actual SIG brand, apparently. And so I thought, well, okay, and they said, sure, we wouldn't mind, because I told them, I said, I want to do a comparison, because I want to even see if my FPS gets up there. Because the biggest problem I have with this guy is I'm losing a little bit too much FPS, and I'd really like to be able to at least get that back somewhat, and hoping to anyways, but we will find out for sure, because this new adapter is not a bulk fill, and it is one of those things where you screw it in. If you unscrew it, you lose all your gas. So if you know anything about the SIG version, that's how it works. So, this is the unit here, and these are 62 bucks at AirSource. Now, these things, by the way, these adapters, they'll work in most air guns. I'm going to say most, not all, because I can't say that. So I'll say most air guns that use AirSource type bottles. And apparently this thing should also work in the Umarex, I can't even remember the name of it, but it shoots arrows. And I'm after that particular unit as well too, because I really want that. That'd be cool. I had started building one years ago and never did get it finished. But you get a couple of extra O-rings with this thing, which is kind of nice in case you need them. And we'll just check out the little paperwork. It says first lubricate the seal in the gun with silicone oil. Now I don't use silicone oil. I use 30 weight non-detergent motor oil in CO2 guns. Silicone oil, as far as I'm concerned, belongs in nitro guns or springers. You can use the silicone oil as long as it has no petroleum distillants. And just to tell you, one oil to not use in any gun, period, is going to be the 3-in-1. Which another YouTuber uses this, and I don't know why he hasn't had problems yet, but wait for it, I'm sure. This has petroleum distillants in this brand, I found out. The hard way, of course. And, yeah, it's going to wreck your gun. So don't use that one anyhow. Find one that does not have petroleum distillants listed on the ingredients. Anyway, so these are not supposed to use Crosman CO2 bottles. Apparently they have a problem with Crosman CO2 bottles. But this is just the simple unit here. It just unscrews. It's got a piercing system. And I just want to take a quick look down the hole here. See, oh, that looks like a nifty little piercing system. Holy cow, that looks like it'll knife edge. So the O-ring actually sits on the outside edge here. So that'd be kind of neat. You're going to need a dental pick if you want to change that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fire this thing up, and we're going to crony the gun with this adapter to see if we get our speed up. Now they claim about 40 shots on this thing, and I figure, well, anything's possible, you know. It's just kind of the way it is. Anything is possible. Maybe it can do 40. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on my seal here. Now this end, if you do go with this adapter, this end you can just leave in the gun all the time, I guess, if you wanted to. I mean, eventually it's going to make an impression on the seal, but if that's all you're ever going to use again, probably would not be a huge deal breaker on there. Now I'm not going to put much tension on this. I just want to put enough to snug it. So we'll leave it at that. That looks like it's pretty tight. Oh yeah, that's not going to go anywhere. We'll find out if I got it tight enough. So a little drop of pellet gun oil. Throw this in the tube, and we'll screw it together. No gas loss. Alright. So let's see if we got our stuff done right. Now we're going to bring your attention over to the chronograph here, and we're going to zoom in on it. And we're going to see. Now I'm using 7.4 grain wide cutters. It's what this gun seems to like. So that's what we're going to give it. In fact, I'm actually quite impressed. Most of these SIGs actually like the 7.4s. So let's see what we get for crony results. 286. 405. Okay, so we got a weird one there. So 405 is good. 455. 421. 391. 400. 417. 374. 410. 363. 377. 360. 381. See if we get any real difference getting a little closer. 378. 393. 350. Go further back. 376. 349. 342. 333. 323. 325. 18. I'm just going to keep shooting. That's it. So that was about 31 because we got an empty shot. So I'm going to reload the mag, and we'll see how many more shots we get out of this thing. It's a claimed 40. Now I'm going to leave the camera rolling for this. I'm not taking any breaks this way. Nobody can say, oh, you did this or that. No, I'm going to sit right here. And in fact, let's zoom out. And you can sit here with me and watch me reload this puppy. So, I am really impressed so far. I mean, it went in the gun fine. No air leaks at all. That's good. I'm happy with that. Definitely the speed it's pretty close. Somebody's calling me, and I'm going to just ignore them. There we go. Thought I shut the ringer off. There we go. Kill the ringer. Anyway, so I'm really impressed with the speed so far. That's actually pretty close to where the gun normally would shoot. So that right there says okay. It is definitely on the money as far as that goes. It's pretty good. It's a lot better results than I got with the double system. The shot count is the big thing I'm concerned with. How many shots am I actually going to be able to put through this? I only saw one video on YouTube where a guy used this adapter in the same gun, and he claimed 41 shots. Now, he didn't shoot 41 pellets through. He shot a few pellets and then just kept pulling the trigger. Now, these belts are 30 round belts, and but I'm going to load it all the way up, and we're going to see exactly how many shots we get, especially the usable shots. I mean, right now our last shot was what, 286, so that's still respectable for 10 meter for punching paper and, you know, tin cans. You'll be fine. It's also sitting now too, and we're going to see how much of that energy got built back up and for how long, because as you know, as CO2 gas is expelled, even when not rapid firing, the bottles get colder, so the gas condenses and goes more liquid than gas, so that does affect speed, right? And so we want to find all this sort of thing out with this adapter. And then we'll decide, you know, really, is this a great way to go? Now, if I can get two full belts out of this thing, that would pretty much put it on par with this one, as far as, you know, good usable shots goes. But that would also make me say, well, this is the best way, actually, at that point. If I can get two full belts and not a huge impact on speed loss. Now, for those of you that actually don't know what this tool is for, there's a little button on the back end. I have a video on this. This is for seating your pellets, because if you don't seat them properly, then they can actually jam up your gun. The instructions that I got with my gun actually say to use this. Somebody got on my channel and said, well, my instructions say that you just push them in with your finger and that's it. Well, I'm thinking somebody didn't read the rest of their instructions, or there was a misprint in that manual, because yeah, you can jam up if you don't use that end of the tool, and that's exactly what that tool is for. Now, you only have to run the charging handle once in the gun until you're changing your gas. But if you want to do it just for practice, you can do that. Anyways, alright, let's go back to the Crony here. Alright, so our last number is 286. Let's see what we get now. 276. 320. 263. 328. 342. 323. 267. 231. 61. I'm just going to keep shooting. Error. Some of these are bouncing out of my trap. I'm shredding the paper, so 220, 21, 207. Now we're starting to get to the point where, I don't know, 192. Now we're getting pretty low. 211. And that's it. And we still got gas. I would probably honestly quit there. That's like 185. That's getting really super pathetic. So, let's undo the bottle here and see how much gas actually pisses out of this thing. There shouldn't be hardly anything. The bottle is quite cold right now. I'm almost wondering, is it worth just warming it up a bit more? Nah, I think we're done. Because I was 60 rounds. Technically 61 shots because of the one blank. As soon as you hear it start to hiss, stop. Okay. Because if there's too much pressure in there, that probably wouldn't be a very cool thing. Well, that is the nicest pierce I have ever seen in a bottle yet. That is extremely good piercing. So you're definitely getting full flow, no problems. No restrictions whatsoever on the flow. Really nice. Okay. Now, you can go check my video on this particular unit to find out how our results went. Now, I did get an easy good 60 shots that were really good out of that doubler. It was really good. I don't recall if I did a full shot count out of it to the pathetic point of the 180s. But it does do a pretty good job, but you are definitely not going to get the 400s out of this unit. I didn't anyways. Okay, in my gun I didn't. But this little unit brought me back up to the 400s. And we got some really good shots in the 400s before we saw too serious of a drop off. You know, and we got 2 full belts, no jam ups whatsoever. The amount of gas that actually pissed out of there, I might have only gotten probably 3 shots, maybe 3 more shots. Okay, I'm rough guess, but I would say about 3. I would say you are absolutely safe for 60 rounds out of this adapter, and that's more than enough. I mean, most of us that are shooting our air guns, especially when we have a lot of them in our collection, we are not going to sit there and shoot 300 rounds off out of one gun. We're going to shoot a bunch of rounds out, and then we want to stop. Well, when it comes to CO2 guns, a lot of these guns cannot handle that pressure of the CO2 gas being at the valve for long periods. It's just the way they're made. And with my paperwork with this one, it suggested no more than a week. Otherwise, it can cause potential damage to the gun, which would be, in this case, the valve. Okay, so I always want to offload. And I was buying the 88 and 90s, and that's like 250 rounds I got to put through this gun before I can exhaust that bottle. Otherwise, all I'm doing is pissing away money, literally. And at $23 for 2 of those bottles, really not a good idea to waste all that gas. So it kind of forces you to, you know, shoot it all in one sitting, or you can have an easy up to a week. So if you know you're going to shoot this again within a week and you're going to fire off the rest of the bottle, fine. But it is still very costly regardless. A single CO2 bottle is worth $1. Okay, 2 is worth $2. Either one of these has exceptionally good piercing capabilities for the bottles, so you don't have to worry about having a poor pierce where your velocity is going absolutely up and down like crazy, right? Because you got a very poor pierce. The velocity has a little bit of alteration here and there. A lot of that's because the bottle gets cold as it shoots, but also the fact of the guns don't always shoot exactly the same every fire, okay? But there's a reasonable amount of FPS variance, which this has, and then there's the unreasonable, which it doesn't have, okay? Now, like I said, I did find that with not getting into the 400s with this was kind of like, well, it was a little disappointing, plus I had to modify my gun. Now, I did talk to AirSource, and they agree that there are a lot of us that have to mod them to make this thing fit for some reason, where other people have reported absolutely no issues. Just screw it in and away you went and you're good. So that's a kind of a pig in a poke, whether or not that's going to work for you as an instant, you know, screw it in and you're good, or if it's not. This one at least, definitely guaranteed, you can screw this sucker in, it is going to work, and it's the one for the SIGs specifically. Now this, like I said, it will work in many other guns as well. These things even work on paintball guns, but you'll need an adapter likely because of the thread size. But I have seen the paintball only version of these adapters too, in the 12 gram only. I like this adapter. I think, guys, that in my opinion, if all you're going to do is fire off literally 60 rounds, but you want to have really good shot count as far as speed goes, you're within that 10 meter range, because you know you should be within 10 meter shooting. As far as this goes, as a non-PAL version, okay, so this is the under 500 feet per second version gun. So MCX or MPX, Canadian non-licensable version gun. Definitely this is the way to go. It's small, it's lightweight. You know, like I said, it's your option if you want to leave the one end in there all the time, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And I prefer not to, because I don't want to make an impression on the seal that's permanent. But it's so simple. The amount of space at the back, there's still over 1/8 of an inch of space. You know, even once you torque it down and it's tight, you know that. There's enough relief, you can unscrew this, throw your bottle in, away you go. Just make sure that you actually lube your seal about every couple of bottles that you run through your gun, but also always lube every second or third bottle that actually goes into this unit. There is an O-ring in there that does need some lubrication, so keep that in mind. So that part, and you'll be good to go. And like I said, this thing comes with a couple of extra O-rings with it, which I've already showed you guys where that O-ring goes, and you're going to need a dental pick to change it. But they are pretty simplistic. They went around here someplace. I know I've got them. Yeah, so the adapter, I think the adapter is definitely worth every bit of the $62. It's going to give you 60 rounds, which most of us, that's all we're going to fire. The most I would fire out of most of my guns is 60 rounds. Unless it happens to be like my favorite gun, where that's all I'm going to shoot all day long, well then that's different. You know, but this is a gun too where, you know, are you going to shoot it all day long? And do you really want to spend the money on AirSource bottles? I mean, seriously, when you figure out one AirSource bottle alone, what's your cost? You know, so your cost is somewhere around, even when you add the taxes on, you're still at about $12, $13 just for the one out of the pack of 2, right? You fill this thing up, 12 and 12 is 24, 48. So 8 bottles of gas is $8. Now I am talking Canadian dollars here, okay? So 8 bottles is $8, and that's actually a little bit more than 90 grams when you do the math on that. It's about 96 or something. And this you will lose a bit of speed on, okay? So you're going to be into the high 3s. This at least put us into the 4s right away, and it did a pretty good job for a number of shots before it started to drop. but the drop was not a big drop. I found this one had a much bigger drop rate. However, again, if you're looking for a solution and save a lot of money, you only want to fire off 60 rounds, this adapter here is going to pay for itself real quick. Like, basically, it almost pays for itself instantly. Because of the fact that you're going to get those 60 shots off, you do have to take time to reload your belts anyways if you only have the one belt. But even still, you know, let the bottle warm back up a little bit and you get your pressure back up and you're good to go. Now, as far as the quality build on this thing goes, I think it's really good. I think they did a really beautiful job. Like, even the threading is really nice threading job on this. They did a great job. And this is, I would say this is all aluminum from the feel of everything. Nice knurling job too, to give you some anti-slip grip so you can snug things up. That's always nice. But like I said, you have to have this end has to be in the gun first and ready to go. Then you put the bottle in here, then you ignite, okay? Because this is not resealable. Once you unscrew it, any gas that's there, it's going to get exhausted. Kind of like your AirSource, except, you know, this is a 12-gram bottle. And like I said, that is the best puncture I've ever seen on a bottle yet. That is just outstanding. That's great. So you know you're getting all that full gas flow hassle-free. Anyway, so that's what I got for you guys today. So thank you, by the way, to AirSource for sending me this unit to check out. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. And this is going to definitely find its new home in this gun full-time. I'm not sure quite yet what I'm going to do with this sucker. But I do have other guns I'm going to be buying that are going to be using these things. And you know, the other thing too is they even, I think, don't hold me to it, but I think they said you could use this one in the arrow shooter. Definitely this one though, because it's the same brand as the gun. But I'm going to try these out in the arrow shooter too, both when I get them, to see, you know, shot count difference. Because you get about 20 or 25 shots out of that rifle shooting arrows in it out of an AirSource bottle. So it should be interesting to see what your shot count is like on these. And of course velocity as well, which is something we'll test. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get that gun, guys, but when I do get it, we will definitely do that testing for you, and we will have fun. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and smack that bell for notifications to new videos that I get and uploaded, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.